Can a simple conversation between two tennis stars reveal the future of the circuit? Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner met face to face in Cincinnati, just before starting their battle for the world #1 spot. But the most surprising part wasn't what they said, but the atmosphere in which they said it. In this video, we'll tell you everything about this leaked chat, what Alcaraz revealed about his vacation, how Sinner reacted, and why this encounter might be the calm before a storm on the court. Stay with us until the end to find out. It was an unexpected reunion, on a practice court under the Cincinnati sun. Carlos Alcaraz, with his usual energy and fresh off a vacation with friends in southern Spain, locked eyes with Jannik Sinner, the world #1. Both had skipped the Toronto Masters to focus on their preparation. And in that instant, with their rackets still at rest, the moment occurred that has the tennis world buzzing today, a brief, relaxed, and completely leaked conversation. "Haven't seen you in a while," Carlos said, laughing as he approached Sinner with the confidence of someone who knows his rival well. The Italian smiled, lowered his racket, and replied, "Yes, it's been some time, my friend." What followed was a light-hearted chat, like between colleagues who respect each other. Alcaraz confessed, "After Wimbledon, nothing crazy. 2 weeks at home and 1 in Andalusia. It was nice." He showed an unusual calm for someone who has so much at stake in the coming days. Sinner listened attentively, with a half-smile. The contrast between them was clear. While Carlos spoke enthusiastically about his getaway with friends to avoid boredom, Jannik remained serene, more focused. He didn't say much about his preparation, but his gaze said it all. He had been training, focused on defending his titles in Cincinnati and the US Open. Meanwhile, Alcaraz exuded freshness, as if the break had been exactly what he needed. The conversation didn't last more than a minute, but it was enough to capture the essence of their relationship. No tension, no visible rivalry. Just two young men, 21 and 23 years old, who understand what's at stake but also know how to enjoy the journey. Alcaraz asked about his preparation, but Sinner dodged details with a simple, "All good, working hard." Then, a knowing smile, as if to say, "See you on the court." Before parting, Carlos threw out one last phrase, full of confidence, "This summer's going to be fun." Sinner responded with a slight nod and a firm look. The scene ended with a casual handshake and each heading to their training sessions. Carlos went off to practice with Medvedev, while Sinner trained with Jaume Munar. The chat was brief, but it left an echo that still resonates. The battle is about to begin. The footage was leaked on social media and quickly caught the tennis world's attention. It wasn't just the content of the conversation, but the context. Alcaraz had just come back from vacation, while Sinner was defending his throne. Two different preparation methods, but one common goal. For many, this conversation revealed something key. Carlos is confident, but not careless. His break was calculated, knowing the final stretch of the season demands everything physically and mentally. Meanwhile, Sinner showed another strategy. No pause, no beach. His preparation was quiet, meticulous, like a Swiss watch. Since winning Wimbledon, he had secluded himself with his team, planning every step. He knows that in Cincinnati he's defending 1,000 points, and in New York, 2,000. Losing the top spot is not an option. And although he didn't say it in the conversation with Alcaraz, his body language made it clear. Every move was focused on that defense. The conversation also showed how different they are off the court. Alcaraz is spontaneous, smiling, loves to joke. Sinner is reserved, elegant, measured. But that difference is part of what makes their rivalry so exciting. One arrives with vacation rhythm, the other with full-on concentration. And yet, they understand each other, respect each other, and push one another to be better. What they said was friendly. What they didn't say is what really matters. Because when Carlos mentioned his days in Andalusia, Sinner didn't judge. He just listened. And when Carlos said 3 weeks at home were boring, the Italian let out a soft chuckle. Not mockery, understanding. They both know that, whether vacationing or training, the true test is the court. And while the chat was relaxed, it was also a declaration of intent. They respect each other, yes, but neither will give the other anything for free. The public already dreams of a final between them on Monday, August 18th. The draw placed them on opposite sides of the bracket, as if destiny intended for them to meet only if they earn it. Cincinnati is just the prelude. The US Open will be the ultimate war. But this brief, leaked, and simple conversation in Cincinnati is now a symbol. The rivalry is alive, stronger than ever. And laced with smiles. And as the tournament approaches, images of that moment continue to spread online. People analyzing every gesture, every word, every look. Was Sinner's smile genuine? Was Alcaraz's tone provocative? Maybe. Maybe not. What's certain is that stories like this are what make tennis bigger than just a sport. It's a narrative, a series, a saga. And this chat is just the beginning of a new episode. The conversation between Alcaraz and Sinner in Cincinnati was brief, but full of meaning. It showed that, even though they battle for the throne of world tennis, they still maintain the respect and humanity that make them unique. Carlos, with his vacation-fresh energy, and Yannick, with the poise of a number one, gave us a moment that disarms rivalries and humanizes elite sport. Now, everything is set for the battle. Alcaraz will arrive with renewed energy. Sinner, with absolute focus. Who will dominate the Cincinnati hard courts? Who will reach New York in better shape? No one knows. But what we do know is that, no matter who wins, this rivalry has the potential to become one of the greatest in modern tennis. What's really going on between Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner when no one's watching? Is it pure rivalry, or is there a friendship behind the epic battles they've staged? In the midst of the US swing, Alcaraz has spoken openly about his relationship with the Italian. And what he said might surprise you. Today we bring you the full story, what Alcaraz feels for Sinner, what drives him, and why their relationship off the court is very different from what many imagine. In the past 2 years, Alcaraz and Sinner have starred in some of the most intense and thrilling matches on the ATP circuit. Grand Slam finals, Masters 1000 showdowns, and unforgettable duels that have the tennis world hooked. But what's behind that on-court tension? Is this a rivalry like Federer and Nadal's, or is there something more? In a recent interview with the Financial Times, Alcaraz opened up and made it clear, his bond with Sinner goes beyond the scoreboard. Off the court, getting along is a whole different story, he said firmly. And he didn't say it with distance, but with admiration. Carlos revealed that they train together often, see each other nearly every week of the year, and that naturally creates a connection. Even though tennis is an individual sport, you end up surrounded by the same people. That creates a certain closeness, he explained. There's no friction, no resentment. What there is, respect, competitiveness, and a constant drive to outdo each other. Alcaraz knows that their matches draw millions of viewers. It's a privilege that people enjoy them so much, he acknowledged. But he also rejected the idea of being compared to the legends. We don't have to repeat what Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic did. That can eat you alive if you don't stay true to yourself, he said. He's clear, he wants to write his own story, without living in anyone's shadow. And if there's someone who pushes him to be his best, it's Yannick Sinner. The level I have to maintain just to beat him is really high, Alcaraz admitted. That's the essence of this new tennis era. Two young players who not only compete but drive each other toward excellence. There's no hatred between them, only challenge. No enmity, just healthy rivalry. And that's why, every time they meet on court, the spectacle is guaranteed. What's most striking is how Alcaraz values the balance between wanting to beat the other and, at the same time, deeply respecting him. We want to win, but also be good people off the court. To me, that's one of sport's greatest virtues, he said. His words are as clear as his intentions. To win, yes, but without losing his humanity. Without destroying personal bonds. Because true greatness lies in competing without hating. This philosophy has been evident since their first clash. There have never been inappropriate gestures, provocations, or inflammatory statements. Just pure, clean, powerful tennis. What starts at the net, ends at the net. And that has led them not only to share courts, but also training sessions, conversations. Even smiles off camera. A different kind of relationship, built through competition but rooted in values. That connection was more than clear in their recent reunion in Cincinnati. Right before the tournament began, they crossed paths on the practice court. Alcaraz, smiling, had just returned from vacation with friends in Andalusia. Sinner, more focused, arrived after weeks of intense work. Amid greetings and jokes, they spoke briefly. And while the chat was short, the tone said it all: trust, respect, complicity. Two rivals who understand each other perfectly. Alcaraz broke the ice naturally, "Haven't seen you in a while." To which Sinner replied with a smile, "Yes, too long." Carlos told him he'd spent 2 weeks at home and then some time in southern Spain, just enjoying himself. Nothing out of the ordinary, but enough to recharge. 3 weeks without moving bores me, he admitted with a laugh. Sinner listened, without saying much, as he usually does. But his relaxed attitude showed there was no tension whatsoever. Even though Cincinnati and the US Open could define who ends the year as number one, neither showed pressure in that moment. It was a meeting between two colleagues who know what's at stake, but don't need to prove anything off the court. That maturity, at their young ages, is admirable. It's not about faking friendship, it's about knowing how to separate competition from personal respect. And that's exactly what Alcaraz highlighted in the interview. We see each other a lot off the court, and in the end, a good relationship forms, he explained. The fact that they train together often has created a bond that goes beyond competition. They may not be best friends, but they share values, goals, and the same passion. That connection is what has made them the main faces of modern tennis. Because their matches aren't just games, they're chapters of a story in the making. What's most powerful about this relationship is how they motivate each other. Alcaraz doesn't hide the fact that Sinner forces him to improve. Every training session, every point, is a challenge to outdo himself. He gives me the chance to give everything I have every day, he said. It's a relationship that feeds itself. The better one plays, the more the other pushes. And that, instead of dividing them, brings them closer. Because both know that without the other, their growth wouldn't be the same. The public, naturally, wants drama. They want rivalries with tension, with stare-downs, with sharp words. But Alcaraz insists that doesn't exist here. People like the idea that there's friction between us, but it's not like that, he stated firmly. What he has with Sinner is a healthy competitive relationship that breaks cliches and proves you can fight for the same thing without losing sportsmanship. Ultimately, what happens on court is absolute intensity. But off it, there's maturity, professionalism, and mutual admiration. Carlos Alcaraz doesn't just want to be the best, he wants to do it while respecting those who walk that path with him. And Jannik Sinner, with his strategic silence, seems to share that same vision. What unites them isn't typical friendship, but something deeper, the will to elevate tennis to a new level. The true relationship between Alcaraz and Sinner is a reflection of modern tennis, competitive, intense, but also respectful and human. Behind every final, every set, every point, are two young men who understand the value of growing together, without needing to become enemies. What they've built goes beyond rankings, it's a story of mutual growth. With his words, Alcaraz has made it clear, the future of tennis is in good hands. It's not about imitating the legends of the past, but writing a new story. And in that story, Sinner is both a rival and an inspiration. The battle for number one continues, but what they share off the court also deserves a place in sports history.